I would like to share the fact that, my life has been much like the families that we serve. I grew up in a family that was very poor most of the time. My dad dropped out of school when he was just a youngster. He wasn't even in junior high yet. My mother dropped out of school when she was 16, even though she was a straight A student. And, our life included being homeless many times. I changed schools 24 times. I would come home from school and my parents would be packing and we'd move that night and we didn't even know that we were going to be moving. I can remember coming out of the school and not knowing how to get home because we'd moved so many times I couldn't remember what home looked like. So to me, you know, being in this work and all really resonates with my growing up. When I was able to get pretty sound where my junior and senior year I went to the same high school, and then I got married right after high school graduation. And I thought that everything would be perfect and I wouldn't be moving all over the country and things would be very solid. And in the respect of things being very stable, they were. But I married someone that was very abusive and had 3 babies. And it took me a while to get strong enough to be able to leave that individual. When I finally did have the courage to leave that, I had no education, so I really had to start over from scratch. I was homeless for a brief period of time with my kids, had a friend that helped me find a place to live and provided the money for me to move in, and then I applied to go to school and got into Regis University in Denver, and kind of things changed a lot for me at that point. However, I had to work full-time and part-time and go to school full-time and be the mom of 3 kids in order to make those changes happen. So it has been a really huge challenge. In a lot of ways, it took me 5 years to get my bachelor's degree. When I moved to Washington 19 years ago from Colorado, about 2 years later, I started my master's degree and actually began working here at Helping Hand House. And that really has been, kind of a coming home time, because now I can help the children that are living the life of uncertainty and instability that I had find some of that stability that they need to grow up and be contributing citizens. And the other part is that I really can support the adults as well, and a lot of our moms are single moms with children. And often when I share my story, it really helps them understand what it's like to redevelop yourself. And we didn't have programs like this where I was when I was a single mom. One of the things that was really a challenge in leaving a domestic violence relationship was that I was in a small community. I lived in a town at that time of 300 individuals. The county consisted of 8,000 individuals, and everybody knew everyone's business to degrees that are incomprehensible here. That was really difficult, and I did leave the area in part just so that I could be who I needed to be, because you get in a mold and people tend to kind of hold you there. And I was seen as someone that didn't have an education, didn't have, just a lot of didn't haves, and I needed to go someplace where people would allow me to be all that I could be, and grow and change and make good decisions, and share my life with my children in a healthy way. So that's when I left Colorado and came to Washington. And one of the things that was very difficult as a child was that in school, the schools would not let me take books home. They wouldn't let me check books out of the library, and they wouldn't let me take books home because my record was that we moved all the time, and they didn't want to lose those books. And I love to read, so that was always a really painful thing for me. So one of the things we do at Helping Hand House is that children have books, and they get to take them and keep them if they want them. So they constantly are given the opportunity to read and to be involved in everyday activities that any of our kids would love to be involved in.